Today, I will be providing an overview of how to certify as an equity eligible contractor, or EEC. Before covering the requirements and steps for certifying as an EEC, I'd like to provide an overview of the EEC designation. An EEC is an organization or entity that is majority owned by equity eligible persons, or EEPs. A nonprofit or cooperative that is majority governed by EEPs, or a natural person that is an EEP offering personal services as an independent contractor and is registered in the Illinois Shines program as an approved vendor or AV or designee. Majority ownership is 50% or greater, and eligibility can be determined across the ownership of multiple EEPs. So, for example, if there are two EEP owners with each 25% ownership, then that organization or entity would be eligible to certify as an EEC. An individual is considered an EEP if they meet one of the following criteria. One, has graduated from or are currently or former participants in the Clean Jobs Workforce Network Program, the Clean Energy Contractor Incubator Program, the Illinois Climate Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program, Returning Residents Clean Jobs Training Program, or the Clean Energy Primes Contractor Accelerator Program, or the Solar Training Pipeline and Multicultural Jobs Programs. A list of qualifying program offers can be found on the Become an EEC webpage. 2, has graduated from or is currently enrolled in the foster care system. This is not exclusive to the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services. Individuals who've been in other state systems are also eligible. 3, is formerly incarcerated. This is not exclusive to the Illinois Department of Corrections. Individuals who've been in other state systems are also eligible. And 4, has primary residence in an equity investment eligible community, or EIEC. EIECs are exclusive to Illinois, and a map of these communities can be found on the Become an EEC webpage. For EEC certification, individuals must indicate in the EEC application and EEC attestation one criterion, even if they meet multiple. There are three types of EECs: EEC AVs, EEC designees, and EEC subcontractors. Each have different benefits in participating in the program as an EEC. EEC AVs are organizations or entities that are already registered in the program as AVs that then certify as an EEC. EEC AVs fulfill the requirements to participating in the program as an AV, which includes submitting projects into the program, serving as the contractual counterparty with the utility, and receiving payments from the utility for REC deliveries as contract obligations are met. The benefits to participating in the program as an EEC AV include: 1, the ability to submit project applications into a reserved block of project capacity available only for EEC AVs, which is called the EEC category. 2, the option to request an advance of capital to the lesser of $750,000 or 50% of the REC contract value for projects under 1.5 million in total REC incentive value upon Part 1 project application submission. And 3, EEC AVs are exempt from meeting the minimum equity standard, or MES, requirements. Single project approved vendors, or SPAVs, are considered AVs and can certify as EEC SPAVs. Next are EEC designees. which are organizations or entities that are already registered in the program as designees that certify as an EEC. EEC designees fulfill the requirements for participating in the program as a designee, which include having direct interaction with end-use customers on behalf of an AV or another designee. Designees include installers, entities that perform maintenance and repair, marketing firms, community solar subscriber agents, lead generators, and sales organizations. Any organization or entity that engages with an end-use customer on behalf of an AV or another designee is required to register as a designee. The benefits to participating in the program as an EEC designee include 1. The ability to utilize their EEC status to appeal to interested customers or AVs that wish to partner with EECs. 2. The ability to contribute scoring points toward projects submitted in the traditional community solar and community-driven community solar categories by their AV, thus increasing the chance of their project moving forward and obtaining a REC contract. And 3, EEC designees are also exempt from meeting the MES requirements. Please note that although both EEC AVs and EEC designees are exempt from meeting the MES, they must submit an MES year-end report on an annual basis to report workforce demographic data. The third type of EEC is an EEC subcontractor. An EEC subcontractor is an organization or entity that qualifies as an EEC and seeks to participate in the program, but either does not yet have a relationship with an AV and or does not interact with end-use customers. Unlike EEC AVs and EEC designees, EEC subcontractors do not have to be registered in the program prior to submitting their EEC application. The benefits to participating in the program as an EEC subcontractor are like those of EEC designees and include 1. The ability to utilize their EEC status to appeal to interested customers or AVs that wish to partner with EECs. 2. The ability to contribute scoring points towards projects submitted in the traditional community solar and community-driven community solar categories by their AV, thus increasing the chance of their project moving forward and obtaining a REC contract. And 3, EEC subcontractors are also exempt from meeting the MES requirement. If an EEC subcontractor begins to interact with end-use customers, they must immediately register as a designee. The majority owner EEP of an EEC is allowed to serve as the majority owner of one EEC AV, one EEC designee, and one EEC subcontractor, which may be separate legal entities. The only exception to this limitation is for EEC SPAVs. There is no limit on the number of SPAVs which can be certified as EECs by a single majority owner EEP. In your EEC application, you can indicate whether you would like to certify from multiple EEC types. Now that we've gone over the EEC designation and the different types of EECs, we are now going to go over the required documentation and information prospective EECs must have ready before submitting their EEC application. The information that will be solicited from the applicant in the EEC application includes business contact information, AV or designee ID number, and status in the program, business types and majority owner demographic information, and ownership and affiliations. The documentation that will be solicited from the applicant in the EEC application includes completed and signed EEC attestation, proof of eligibility documentation, and a certificate of good standing. Please note that while all this information and documentation must be provided by the applicant, only the completed and signed EEC attestation, proof of eligibility documentation, certificate of good standing, and ownership and affiliation information are used to determine eligibility for EEC certification. The business types and majority owner demographic information will be used by the program administrator for tracking and reporting purposes only. This information will never be publicly associated with the applicant, nor is it used for determining EEC eligibility. We will now go into each of these requirements in greater detail. In the EEC application, applicants are required to provide the name of the individual completing the application, position of that individual within their organization, the organization or entity name, email address, phone number, and business address. This information will be used by the program administrator for communicating with the applicant. Later in the application, the applicant will also be prompted to provide their contact information for public listing on the Illinois Shines website, should they be approved as an EEC, including their phone number, email address, and link to their company website. Applicants are required to also indicate their status in the program as an AV or designee, or if they are submitting their application to certify as an EEC subcontractor, and which type of EEC they are seeking certification for: EEC AV, EEC designee, EEC SPAV, or EEC subcontractor. If the applicant is certifying as an EEC AV or EEC designee, they will be prompted to provide their 4-digit AV or designee ID number. This ID number is provided to them upon their registration as either an AV or designee. This ID number can also be found on the Find an AV, Designee, or Subcontractor webpage on the Illinois Shines website. For EEC AV and EEC designee applicants, the information provided during their AV and designee registration or renewal will be compared with that provided in their EEC application to ensure accuracy. The program administrator will reach out to the applicant if there are any discrepancies between the responses in their registration or renewal applications and their EEC application. Applicants that are certifying as an EEC subcontractor will not need to provide an ID number in their application. Should the applicant be approved as an EEC subcontractor, they will be issued a 4-digit ID number that they will be able to use to identify their status in the program. Applicants will be asked to list any business types they identify as and the gender and ethnicity of their majority owner. Business types include minority-owned business enterprise, or MBE, women-owned business enterprise, or WBE, disabled-owned business, veteran-owned business, and small business. Please note that the business type small business is based on size standards used by the U.S. Small Business Administration. Applicants can use the Small Business Administration's size standards tool to determine if they are eligible for this type of business. As a reminder, business type and majority owner or demographic information are not used for determining eligibility for the EEC certification. Additional information solicited in this section of the application includes how the applicant heard about the EEC certification, current number of employees, and date of organization or incorporation in home state. The applicant must also list their owners, those that are seeking EEP status and otherwise, and include the percentage of ownership that each has of the applying organization or entity. The applicant must also list any affiliations. Affiliated means with respect to any entity, any other entity that directly, or indirectly through one or more intermediaries, controls is controlled by or is under common control with each other or a third entity. Control means the possession, directly or indirectly, of the power to direct the management and policies of an entity, whether through the ownership of voting securities, by contract, or otherwise. Affiliates may not have shared sales or revenue sharing arrangements, or common debt and equity financing arrangements. The first document that applicants are required to upload to their EEC application is a completed and signed EEC attestation. The EEC attestation template can be found on the Become an EEC webpage on the Illinois Shines website. This form must be completed and hand-signed by the majority owner of the organization or entity seeking EEC certification. If multiple owners are claiming EEP status to show majority ownership, then EEC attestations are required for each owner and must be uploaded to their application. In addition to signatures from the majority owner, the EEC attestation also asks which qualification the majority owner meets for EEP status. Knowingly providing false or misleading information on the EEC application or attestation may result in denial of the application or other consequences, including possible program disciplinary action. Applicants with majority owners that are seeking qualification either through the job training or primary residence qualifications must upload to their application proof of eligibility documentation that clearly includes the majority owner's name and date of issuance. For those that have graduated from or are currently enrolled in a qualifying job training program, they must upload to their EEC application either a certificate of completion or written communication from the training program administrator confirming participation. For those that have primary residence within an EIEC, they must upload documentation that includes their name and primary address. This may include a driver's license, state ID, utility bill, pay stub, lease, or mortgage agreement. The last document that applicants are required to upload to their application is a certificate of good standing from the Office of the Illinois Secretary of State. This document must include the applying organization or entity name and date of issuance. More information about purchasing this certificate can be found on the Illinois Secretary of State website. Once the applicant has all their required information and documentation, they can proceed with submitting their application. The EEC application can be found at the bottom of the Become an EEC webpage on the Illinois Shines website. Completion of the application takes approximately 10 to 15 minutes. Once the applicant has completed and submitted their application, the program administrator will determine their eligibility within 2 to 4 weeks. The program administrator will reach out to the applicant by email or phone if any additional information or documentation is needed to make a final determination. Should the program administrator determine that the applicant is eligible for the EEC certification, they will send an approval letter which will contain resources helpful for new EECs, including a unique EEC certificate and EEC badge that can be used by the new EEC to market their status to customers and other market stakeholders. In addition, the new EEC will be listed as such on the Find and Approve Vendor, Designee, or Subcontractor webpage on the Illinois Shines website. If the applicant has been approved as an EEC AV, they are required to schedule a one-on-one onboarding with the EEC sector strategist. The EEC sector strategist will be available for one-on-one check-ins throughout the EEC AV's participation in the Illinois Shines program.